Parliamentary inquiry into the appointment of former Deputy New South Wales Premier John Barilaro as US Trade Commissioner will start today. Anthony Whealy is a former ICAC Assistant Commissioner and Chair of the Centre for Public Integrity. He joins us live now. Anthony, good morning to you. So how does today shake down?
Well, it's an important day because it's the beginning of one of the two inquiries that are underway to make sure that proper process has been followed in the Barilaro appointment. Peter, the essential point to keep in mind is that where a minister retires or resigns and then is given pretty soon thereafter an important appointment in the area of his portfolio, there's an absolute need for transparency and accountability in relation to the process.
Dan, do you think at this stage that proper process has been followed?
Well, like everybody else, I want to know all the facts. There are, two or three major questions, and we want to see whether, what lies behind them. First of all, Mr Barilaro created these positions, and then after his resignation, he gets one of them. So that raises, a question mark in itself. Secondly, from what we know, there was a very careful selection process in the middle of last year, and Jenny West was one of the two preferred candidates. The documents I've seen show that she had exceeded all of the requirements for the position. And while I don't know what happened next, I'm told that she was actually offered the position and then was withdrawn. So we need to know why. Why did that happen if a candidate who meets all the requirements suddenly finds her position rescinded? We also know she wrote to Mr Cootes-Trotter about the matter, but we don't know what was done after that. We assume that she was complaining about the treatment she received. And then the third thing is that in October, when Mr Barilaro resigned, or about the time, the Investment New South Wales announced that they were going to switch the whole process from an independent structure to ministerial appointments. And again, we don't know why that was done, but what's mystifying about it is that this year, in relation to the appointment, it seems it was not a ministerial appointment. Indeed, it was signed off by Amy Brown, who was in years gone by a subordinate to Mr Barilaro. She says, of course, there's no conflict of interest, and this inquiry will examine that question very carefully.
If those questions that you have, and it's not just you, so many others have those same questions, they're quite reasonable. If those questions aren't answered satisfactorily, can Mr Barilaro go ahead and take this job?
Well, that's a political question for the Premier, but you would think if those questions are answered unsatisfactorily, or if the answers are not completely transparent and satisfactory to the community, there'd be a question mark over the wisdom politically of appointing him.
Are you satisfied that the Premier was not involved from what you've been able to read so far?
I know nothing to suggest that the Premier had any real involvement other than being told socially that Barilaro had applied for the position. And I do think the Premier's done the right thing by appointing an independent inquiry headed by Graeme Head, a very respected public servant, former public servant, to examine it. And I think he'll get to the bottom of it. I'm not sure the parliamentary inquiry will be as successful. Politics always intrudes, but I do think the independent inquiry, quite properly ordered by the Premier, will tell us a lot about what's happened.
And given that the contract has been signed, or there has already been a commitment to give the job to John Barilaro, if he doesn't take up the posting, does it mean that the taxpayers would have to pay John Barilaro out?
Will there be a pot of gold at the end of the rain? Well, one would hope not.
Yeah. Okay, Anthony Whealy, good to have you with us this morning. Appreciate that, and we hope all of those questions will be answered when that starts to get underway later on today. Anthony, thank you.
Thank you.